The flexible communication model is one alternative to formal argumentation that is especially interesting because it incorporates a lot of aspects from the other alternatives as well as from argumentation itself. And what we see with the flexible communication model is an attempt to put a lot of different options out there, experiment with them, and work through a process of experimenting and employing different options and strategies so that as we near the end of our communication process, we end up with the best possible alternative. So we begin with a range of acceptable outcomes. We put a lot of stuff out on the table, just like we would do in public discussion and some of the other options. And then we, like in consensus building, try to ensure that all will benefit. We look for win-win solutions that at least address each of the interests represented in this issue. So we lay out those interests, and then once we have put all of that on the table, we then begin to experiment with various forms of communication. This might include persuasion, argumentation itself, coalition building, consensus building. All of these things become part of the flexible communication model. So we might move from persuasion to consensus as we work through what are the best ideas, what are some of the best tactics for persuading people to adopt those ideas, and then moving into consensus and a discussion of are we actually representing everyone's interests. And then we also need to allow for a full range of shifts in how people approach each other. So the flexible communication model embraces competitive communication, where we have persuasion and sides trying to convince the other that they have the right perspective. But we also need to be able to embrace things like cooperation. So the ability to shift from a more combative or competitive persuasion model into something like consensus building, which is based in cooperation, is a very important part of the flexible communication model process. And what we end up with is a well-tested solution that hopefully addresses each interest represented by the issue.